A hate crime is a criminal act driven by bias or prejudice against a specific group. It is not just a simple criminal act, it embodies a deeper form of hatred, a type of animosity that is fueled by an individual's personal biases. This bias can be of various types. It can arise from a difference in race or possibly stem from the of religious beliefs. Additionally, sexual orientation can become a target of such biases, leading to horrific acts against those who might identify differently than the societal norms. Moreover, ethnicity too often becomes a trigger for such crimes. It's the diversity of one's roots and cultural heritage that make them unique, yet it unfortunately becomes a reason for prejudice. In the same gender identity and disability, aspects that should be respected and understood can also be the source of such bias. What separates hate crimes from other offenses is their wider impact. They are not just directed towards an individual, they act as an attack on the victim's community, instilling fear and deterring social progress. These crimes pose a significant threat to the diversity and integrity of our society, shaking its very foundations. Unlike other crimes, hate crimes have a broader impact because they target not just the individual but the diversity and integrity of our society as a whole. Hate crimes have roots in deep societal prejudices and systemic discrimination. In some of the most horrendous periods of history, we've seen these biases manifest into brutal, violent actions. From the 19th century through the 20th, we witnessed the surge in anti-Semitic pogroms, primarily in Europe. These were organized, often violent riots conducted against various ethnic or religious groups, with Jewish communities bearing the brunt. In the same vein, we also saw the racially motivated violence of Nazi Germany, a grim, chilling chapter in human history. The Nazis, under Hitler's rule, were responsible for the murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. This devastating period serves as a gruesome testament to the extent of damage such hate crimes can inflict upon society. These atrocities aren't just isolated incidents, rather they're part of a persistent, painful part of history. They serve as stark reminders of the destructive power of hatred and intolerance. Legal approaches to hate crimes considerably differ across the globe, each approach crafted with a unique understanding and culture of the society it governs. In some jurisdictions, there are laws that significantly increase penalties for crimes that are conclusively proven to be motivated by prejudice or bias. These laws are seen as a more direct way of curbing hate crimes, as it treats the act as a direct violation of societal norms and values, warranting stricter punitive measures. On the other hand, there are jurisdictions that have taken an alternate route and focus on criminalizing hate speech and similar acts. This approach is built on the belief that hate crimes often stem from a culture of bias and prejudice, which is fostered by hate speech. By making hate speech itself a crime, these jurisdictions aim to strike at the root of the problem. However, the legal challenge associated with both approaches is tremendously complex. It lies in finding a balance, a middle ground between the necessity to punish hate crimes effectively and the equally important task of safeguarding individual freedoms. For instance, while hate speech can foster a culture of bias, it often falls under the protection of the right to free speech. Balancing these nuances form the crux of the challenge. The impact of hate crimes extends far beyond physical injuries. These offenses against individuals or groups motivated by prejudice and hostility often leave lasting scars not just on the victims but also on the societies they are a part of. When we focus on the victim, we see terrifying consequences. More often than not, victims undergo serious psychological trauma. This can manifest in various forms such as debilitating anxiety, crippling depression, or the haunting shadows of post-traumatic stress disorder. This unseen trauma can have the devastating power to ripple through entire communities, spreading its tendrils wide and far. It instills a pervasive sense of fear and mistrust, creating invisible barriers between individuals, groups, and communities. This atmosphere of fear can undermine social cohesion, diluting the strength and unity of societies, thereby making them vulnerable. The impact of hate crimes, therefore, is not limited to immediate harm but extends deeply into the psychology and fabric of communities, undermining social cohesion. The societal implications of hate crimes are significant. They ripple through communities, manifesting as a destructive force that shatters the peace and harmony within societies. Hate crimes are not ordinary crimes. They are a malicious attack on a person's identity and can have severe psychological impacts on the victims, their families, and their communities. Furthermore, these crimes escalate tensions dramatically, creating an atmosphere of fear, suspicion, and hostility. They can ignite an endless destructive cycle of violence which can sometimes span generations, spreading hatred and mistrust. These crimes do not just harm individuals, they also erode the very principles our society is built upon, principles of equality, mutual respect, and unity. These values are the pillars of a healthy, thriving society, and when they are undermined, the societal structure is at risk of crumbling. Understanding and effectively addressing hate crimes isn't just the need of the hour, it's a societal imperative. It is essential for fostering a safe, inclusive community. Addressing hate crimes is fraught with challenges. This complex issue is deeply entwined with societal and individual concerns that make it troublingly persistent. Primarily, its prevalence can be attributed to the substantial problem of underreporting. This is often a result of victims' fear of subsequent retaliation from their perpetrators or even from society. They may also harbor beliefs that the authorities will not take their complaints seriously. This fear often stems from a lack of trust towards law enforcement agencies due to past experiences or a perceived bias. The aspect that further complicates this issue is the intricate process of distinguishing a hate crime from a regular offense. It's not as black and white as it might seem. It requires a careful and meticulous analysis of the perpetrator's motives. These motives can be deep-rooted, convoluted, and nuanced, often influenced by societal norms, personal prejudices, and intricate psychological factors. Indeed, addressing this issue necessitates confronting these complexities head-on from a multidisciplinary perspective, involving law enforcement, sociologists, psychologists, and policymakers. Addressing hate crimes requires careful analysis of the perpetrator's motives, which can be complex and nuanced. Combating hate crimes requires more than just legal measures. It involves a comprehensive approach, a commitment to profound education, and an enhanced awareness. The solution doesn't lie with policies alone, but rather, it's a multifaceted issue that needs a multidimensional response. To tackle this societal plague, we must cultivate an environment of acceptance, respect, and understanding. Achieving this is possible if we foster a profound respect for diversity and individuality. We must strive to cultivate and maintain an inclusive society, a society where every individual, regardless of their race, religion, or ethnicity, feels valued and safe. Such a society can only be achieved through diligent efforts, all aimed at spreading awareness, education, and understanding. A pivotal role in this process is played by law enforcement and the judiciary. Their education is crucial. They need to be trained to recognize hate crimes and to respond to them effectively and efficiently. This would ensure each case receives the attention it deserves. This effort includes educating law enforcement and the judiciary to recognize and respond to these crimes effectively. In sum, hate crimes are a complex and deeply damaging social issue. This social issue often stems from deep-seated prejudice, intolerance, and fear. It's a problem that spans across nations, cultures, and societies. It's an issue that impacts not only individuals but as a whole. By delving into the depths of what constitutes a hate crime, we can begin to unravel the complexities of this multifaceted problem. Understanding the intricacies of a hate crime goes beyond simply knowing its definition. It involves comprehending the legal implications that come with it. The law plays a pivotal role in addressing hate crimes, providing a framework for identifying, prosecuting, and preventing such incidents. Yet the legal aspect is but a small piece of the bigger picture. Beyond the legal sphere, hate crimes have a far-reaching impact in communities. They can cause psychological trauma, foster fear and mistrust, disrupt communities, and perpetuate societal divisions. The reverberating effects of hate crimes can be seen and felt across various aspects of society, from the personal to the public, from the individual to the collective. Yet the gloom of hate crimes is not without a silver lining. By acknowledging and confronting this issue, we can take significant steps towards creating a more inclusive, just, and compassionate society. This involves not only legal measures, but also educational initiatives, policy reforms, community-building efforts, and individual actions. Each action taken against hate is a step toward a future where understanding and kindness triumph over prejudice and violence. We are all part of the solution, and every step we take matters. Together we can pave the way for a world free from hate.